Welcome back to Let's Play Kameo. We finally made it to the Forest Temple. This is my favorite part of Ocarina of Time, so I've actually got pretty high hopes for it. This little hallway here has a mosquito nest, which I'm not going to bother to deal with. Mosquitoes aren't going to follow us into the main area, which is just ahead of us here. We got a couple of friendlies, so let's check in with them.
We're all that's left of the platoon sent out to save Alice and the kids. The rest of my men were wiped out.
It's a little scrawny to be a warrior, probably not much of a surprise there.
Ancient etchings show that these stone circles are actually platforms. There must be a way to activate them.
Yep. We'll be finding that way very soon. Some more of those hungry golems. As you can imagine, they are the key to accessing the next area.
We're all that's left of the platoon sent
You've
out.
already heard that. For completion's sake, let's check out this back corner. Not much to be found, just a couple of runes in this chest.
Remember, I'm always here in the whatnot to help you.
And we won't be needing your help, Ortho. Gonna do a jump over to that other chest there. And this is a non-respawning chest. It's got something like 60 or 80 runes in it, but our wallet has not been upgraded yet, and we can only carry 100 total, and I had 92. So almost all those runes were completely wasted. Not sure why I bothered to deal with those nests. But it makes feeding the golem a little tiny bit easier. So, just 2 more golems and finally done with that gimmick. Here, of course, are the platforms the smart plant guy warned us about. And because this one is not symmetrically placed, we are not able to sling a rock into this one's mouth. We have to chip it into his forehead and let it roll into his mouth.
I'm itching to knock some troll heads together, but I have to follow orders and babysit this egghead.
Excuses, excuses.
Astonishing. The platforms are pulsing with energy once more. This must be how the Ancient Ones offered a sacrifice to those statues.
Yep, you just saw us do it, buddy. Glad we could impress you, though. Here is the next area. What secrets could it possibly hold? Let's find out.
I don't believe it. That's old Norwood of legend, and Alice is trapped inside it. It won't be easy to defeat a demon like this, so study its attacks carefully.
Yeah, we're all ready to the boss. And contrary to what Ortho said, it will be easy to defeat him. Closest thing to a challenge is getting the right distance away from him to shoot those caps. Because if you're too close, they bounce backwards. But even that's not much of a challenge. You can see Hallis floating around in there. Doesn't seem to be in too much danger, but we're going to save him anyway. And these trolls that he drops, they land very, very injured from the fall. So they pretty much die from 1 stone. And they usually drop 1 to 3 hearts, which means it's almost impossible to die in this section. After you hit him with a cap, he'll laugh 2 or 3 times in between dropping trolls. And when he laughs, you can shoot a rock into his mouth, because that's kind of the gimmick of the entire forest, apparently. That's the 2nd hit already. He's already halfway done. And fortunately, I start playing pretty badly here. Yeah, miss a lot of opportunities to shoot rocks into his laughing mouth when he starts laughing. Focus a little too much on the trolls. Yeah, see there, I thought I was going to hit, so I didn't keep shooting. We're getting pretty close. We're not going to see anything else. We don't earn any points from any of the kills in this area, nor do we gain combat multipliers or anything that we've seen before. Points basically stopped accruing once we enter the Forest Temple. So, yeah, with not much left to see here, we're going to skip ahead to the last hit. The finishing blow. Alright, this ought to take care of this ancient demon of legend. Get ready to meet Hallis, and strap in because he's a bit of a talker.
Kameo, I just wanted to say that you were great. In fact, you reminded me of your father today.
Don't say that. I never knew him, but I've heard enough to know he'd never have let Thon get the drop on him like he did on me, which is why we're in this mess.
Ha ha! King Solon was a great elf, but he wasn't perfect. Long before you were born, your father made a pact with the trolls and allowed them to live in the realm.
Why would he let those monsters into our lands?
They are brutes, but they're also surprisingly brilliant at making machines. I guess you'd have to be if you couldn't use magic. Anyway, Solon thought these machines would make all the tribe's lives easier, which, at first, they did. Unfortunately, a troll named Thorn, who was bigger, smarter, stronger, and meaner than any before, quickly rose to prominence under the troll's newfound prosperity. Many of us warned your father to be wary, but he was too preoccupied with finding the elemental sprites to truly notice, and flippantly declared that no troll would ever dare defy him. Then came the day that Thorn proclaimed himself king of the trolls and set about to conquer all he surveyed. Much harm was done, and many suffered before your father came to his senses and was finally able to rout Thorn and again banish the trolls from the realm. Thorn swore vengeance, and Solon deeply regretted ever opening the door to such a monster. So don't you think you're the only one who's ever underestimated Thorn. Just promise me you'll never misjudge his power again.
I promise.
Good. And that's enough idle talk, as you still have a long journey ahead. Which I am truly sorry my injuries robbed me of the honor of accompanying you on. But I do possess one thing you will find helpful in your quest to vanquish Thorn once and for all.
Ash.
His name is Ash, and I'm confident you two will burn it up from here on out.
Thanks, Uncle Hallis. You don't know how much that means. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got a kingdom to protect and a troll king to bring down.
Yeah. I kind of love his goofy, pompous voice. We're finally done with him,
Can
but
you hear me?
there's more.
Mystic, you won't believe it, but Uncle Hallis gave me an elemental sprite.
Tricky, tricky, tricky. I wondered where those others were.
Sorry?
Nothing important, but what is that you must save the ancestors before Callus and Thorn take any sprites they might be holding.
Pish posh, the ancestors will never give them up.
Don't you see, you babbling book? They're taking them to the temples because the demons are strong enough to force the elemental sprites out.
Then I'll just have to stop the demons, won't I?
Very good. I see Lenya, deep, deep underwater, trapped in the ruins of the Water Temple, home of Keralis, most wicked demon of the infinite depths.
Underwater? Then it's impossible for me to save her.
Nothing is impossible to one who holds the whatnot. Head to the mountain falls and keep your eyes open, for if you are diligent, I sense you will find an elemental warrior capable of helping you reach the Water Temple. Trust me, and make haste.
And that will put a long overdue end to the info dump that we've just received. So let's check out what we opened up here.
You've just activated a warp gate. Step through it to travel instantly between the...
We don't want to do that right now. It's basically the other side of those watery portals that we saw back in the Enchanted Kingdom, though. And we're going to use the warrior wheel to check out our new elemental warrior. Ash. A goddamn dragon. Well worth the disappointment of the previous area. He's got multiple different ways to breathe fire. That fireball has some interesting properties that we'll be seeing a little bit later. And he can heal from stepping in fire. Just a neat little touch, not very useful. Now that we have him, though, we can do a side quest that I pointed out earlier, which we previously could not do. Right up this path and in that hut, which Ash is too big to fit through the door of.
You've got to do something to help me. My hut's been invaded by horrible, slimy beetles. Do something, please.
It'd be my pleasure. Ash is, yeah, way overpowered for these guys. The reason we need him is because those beetle spawners, they can't be killed except with fire. We can turn them off with damage, but they'll just turn back on a couple seconds later. And that doesn't count as finishing the quest. And yeah, we pretty much blew up everything by accident just by spamming our fireball move.
Incredible! Just like that, the beetles are gone. I don't have much to offer, but please take this as a reward.
Yeah, we get a large elemental fruit out of it.
Have you seen the door on the other side of the lake? That's the entrance to the Ogre's Swamp, if you can open it.
I don't believe that we can currently open it, but it's good to know. Collect our prize. And on the way out I noticed there's an armoire, which we can actually open. 4 pointless runes because we're maxed out. So let's go correct that, upgrade our wallet.
All right.
Clearly should have done that before the temple. And there's the entrance to the Ogre's Swamp that he mentioned. We're definitely not going there. We are, at the moment, done with this area. So we're going to head back to the Enchanted Kingdom via that warp, where I hope to see you next time.